Grand Canyon National Park is the most popular of the US canyons, getting 6 million visitors a year, with the summer months being by far the busiest. Mather Point, being nearest the visitor centre, is probably the busiest of the canyon's many lookout points. Grand Canyon is a gorge of breathtaking proportions. It covers 1,900 square miles, being 277 miles long and up to 18 miles wide. It is difficult to grasp its true grandeur simply by looking at images, but I've included people in many of my shots to try to give some kind of scale. There are several defined areas to Grand Canyon. The South Rim National Park that I visited, the West Rim, which is in Hualapai territory, and the North Rim, which is visible through a blue heat haze in many of my photographs. The North Rim at this point is about 10 miles away. The gorge has been created over a period of 6 million years by the mighty Colorado River, but has now carved itself a channel about a mile deep, and so can only occasionally be spied from the rim. The National Park Service discourages car usage by providing free shuttle bus services to key viewpoints, and also by having well-maintained accessible pathways along the rim. There are regular safe lookout points, but that did not stop people venturing to the cliff edge and sometimes beyond. There is plenty of wildlife in the canyon, but for the most part it keeps sensibly clear of tourists. I caught occasional glimpses, as with the ground squirrel and then a blue jay. Mule deer sightings are more common. They get their name from their large ears. In the afternoon, I took a shuttle bus west from the village to Hopi Point, and then walked the 3 miles back to the village along the rim. Hopi Point is one of the places where, because of a bend in the canyon, it is possible to see down to a stretch off the Colorado River. The views across the canyon are filled with interesting features. These prominent mesas have been named after figures from ancient Egypt, the largest ones being called Isis Temple, Horus Temple, and Osiris Temple. At Powell Point, there is this memorial to John Leslie Powell, who led expeditions down into the canyon way back in 1869 and 1872. A little further on was Mariscopa Point, named after a North American Indian people. Trail view here refers to Bright Angel Trail, one of the 2 maintained trails from the National Park South Rim that zigzag their way down the cliff face to the canyon floor. It takes the trail nearly 8 miles to drop the 4,500 feet down to the Colorado River. It clearly got all too much for some people. Although the canyon is on the whole a barren place, a number of flowers have been able to survive the freezing winters and baking summers. The most common are varieties of yucca. On the following day, I was able to use my car for the 25-mile route east along Desert View Drive. My first stop was at the Pipe Creek Vista, which is effectively a canyon within a canyon. Just round from it was the very impressive Yavapai Point, and between the two was the trailhead for the Kaibab Trail, the second of the maintained routes leading down from the South Rim to the Colorado River. It is popular with walkers, but most will only go down a short way. Even the fittest of hikers are advised not to attempt going down to the river and back in a day. Mules are used to transport both goods and people, but even with them, it is normally a 2-day round trip. A common turning point just below Yavapai Point is charmingly named as Point, which requires a round trip of about 2 miles over a fall of 600 feet. Back up to the rim again, there was another view of Pipe Creek. One thing very necessary before and after a hike was to fill bottles up with spring water. People love to give rock formations a name. The information board notes that it was visited by President Eisenhower in the 1950s. Grandview Point had official safe viewing areas, but that did not satisfy many of the visitors who wanted to find their own even better viewpoints. Given that large blocks of the rim were already breaking away, I felt that they were being a bit foolhardy. Even restricting myself to safe vantage points, I felt that Grandview fully lived up to its name. Moran Point offers a brief glimpse of the mighty Colorado a mile below. It was named after artist Thomas Moran, who had visited in 1871 and subsequently painted some very atmospheric impressions of the canyon. Lipan Point again offers grand vistas, including the Colorado, sneaking through the base of the canyon. Navajo Point is the highest point on the south rim at 7,461 feet. It offers panoramic views west along the canyon and north up the Colorado River. The final stop on the drive was called Desert View. The tower here was designed by architect Mary Coulter and was completed in 1932. The concept was based on a tower she had viewed at Mesa Verde, while the internal decoration reflects Hopi Indian designs. The panoramic view from the top was well worth the 85-step climb, and I felt was a fitting endpoint to my Grand Canyon visit.